I have a couple of questions directed to specific individuals. First one is Mr. Leeper. You say you'll bring in agencies to tell you how to do things. How will you pay for this? And will the taxpayers have to foot the bill?
Well, that will be done within the budget. So certainly, when you taxpayers are paying for the budget, then yes, the taxpayers are paying for it. But you'll find a way to do that within the budget, so you're not asking for more money to do that. And when you ask for outside people to come in and look at your agency, you need a new set of eyes to come in and see what your procedures are, what are your efficiencies, what are your inefficiencies, compared to best practices of law enforcement agencies around the state. We know what's best for us, but sometimes we can see things, but when we look at them all the time, we don't see what we need to see. And it takes somebody from the outside to come in and give us some suggestions. You may not take them, but certainly you need someone looking at your procedures to make sure you're doing everything correctly.
Next question goes to Mr. Hartley. What's the total number of years you have in law enforcement? You probably covered that in the beginning, but just read the question.
I have a total of my certification being active for 4 years. I also owned a bail agency for 7 years, and I'm proud to say that I have a 100% location and apprehension record for any fugitive that has ever fled me.
Okay, I'm going to start now with Mr. Garland. What's your position on profiling in Nassau County?
I'm currently in the narcotics unit, and I know that people think that we go after and profile people, but I do not believe in it, and the people I work with, I don't let them do it. So you're always going to have the argument of somebody saying, you stopped me on a profile. We don't stop on profiles, and I will never let that happen on profiles. You can just ask anyone that works with me. And you stop for a legal traffic reason. That's what you look for, a legal traffic reason. Doesn't matter what color they are, because everybody's created equal.
I do not believe in profiling. It's also a bad way to train a young officer to work. He can't use his skills if he's just profiling out there. As a supervisor, I'll always monitor the radio and listen to my officers, and I can tell by the way they're doing traffic stops whether they're profiling or not. If I deemed that they were profiling, I got on to them and told them to cease and desist, because that's, the department has a policy against profiling. You're breaking the policy. Thank you.
We all answering this one now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Bottom line is profiling is illegal. A police officer is sworn to uphold the law. He's not above the law. You do your job, you do it by the guidelines that are set before you, or you don't do it.
Profiling is illegal. What you should do is track all your stops so you can look back and see if someone is profiling or not, and then certainly you can address that issue. But it is wrong, it's illegal, and would not be tolerated in a department that I'm head of.
All right, now that you've all answered that question, I believe you have. Steve, since you're all against profiling, do you see that we have an epidemic of profiling in Nassau County? And if so, what are you going to do to prevent this?
I don't believe anymore that we're doing it, because sheriff came out and they've been trained. They've been receiving a lot of training in this area that this is illegal and it will not be tolerated. I don't think it's going on at this time in Nassau County.
I can't speak for everybody because I don't have eyes on every single officer and every single deputy that's out there working. Do I think that profiling takes place? Absolutely, I do. I think statistics speak to people, and they think that those statistics are what they're supposed to be looking for. It just boils down to educating and training your people properly.
Yeah, I don't know the statistics, if there's any profiling going on out there, but I do know it's illegal and it would not be tolerated in a sheriff's office that I'm ahead of. It goes into training, making sure your officers are well trained, making sure they know proper procedures and what to do, what to look for.
I don't believe it's going on like it was in the past. Can I say 100% it's not going on? No, because I'm not there on every traffic stop. Will I put up with it? No, I won't. Will I punish them? Yes, I will. And if it comes down to it, they'll be gone and fired, and I will not put up with it.
Okay. I think I am now up to Bill. What do you know? I'm sorry, Chris. Chris, oh, I'm sorry.
You can go with Bill if you want. I don't like being first.
What do you know about Agenda 21?
I know a little bit about Agenda 21. It's the UN's version of trying to sustain development internationally and in our country. Again, this boils down to sovereignty to me. If I'm a believer that the federal government doesn't have the right to come in and dictate to the states and the communities how to run their communities, then I absolutely don't believe that internationally and abroad people have the right to come in and tell us how to live our lives. For you, those of you that aren't familiar with Agenda 21, it is the UN is trying to get us to get on board with what they're calling, I believe, sustained economic growth and environmental impact. They're trying to tell us that we should be limited to what we can do on our private property, who can build this and who can build that. It is an international, I almost believe, I hate this word sometimes, but a conspiracy to try and control us. And again, it all boils down to sovereignty. And if you got the backbone to stand up, then that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
It's a global initiative that was put forth to President George H.W. Bush in 1992 at the global conference in Rio de Janeiro that he signed on to. President Bill Clinton in 1993 signed an executive order creating the President's Council on Sustainable Development and to push local, state and local governments to tweak their land use and environmental issues. It's another way for the federal government to intrude into our lives, and it's something that certainly we can't tolerate. And he signed an executive order because he knew it wouldn't pass through the House and Senate. So that was a way for him to get it through and not have to go through the electorate.
I know. I know just that one ain't working. All right, I know just enough about that 21 to know that I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I would do everything in my power to keep them from enforcing it in the county, and then I would look to the community for August and every election to help get these people out of office that are trying to get it in there. So it'll make it a joint coalition, I guess you would say, with the sheriff's office and the community to get the people out of office to keep from letting it come in here.
I look at Agenda 21 as a new world order. That's what they want. I will defend against it. I will ask that you vote for good community servants to defend us against it. Thank you.
Okay, Bill, I have 3 questions here. They're all about training. It is a big subject, but what's the most urgent training need for NCSO? And what do you plan on doing to facilitate more training per officer?
Training is a big issue. It's a very important issue. It's important to maintain your training. When you go out and you get into a situation, you're going to revert back to your training. It's very important to have a good training officer in charge of your department. I have proposed to develop a law enforcement training academy here in Nassau County to partner with institutions, the community college, other training facilities utilizing retired law enforcement personnel to make sure we have the top trained law enforcement agency, not only in Nassau County, but in the state. And when I leave office, that's one of the things I want people to say, that their department is the best trained in our area.
That is correct. We do need more training, but it also depends on what part of the agency you're working with at that particular time as far as what training that is needed at that time. With that also being said, if there's training that they're not specifically in, if they're on patrol and they're wanting to go to a narcotics class, if it's possible for them to go to a narcotics class, I say let them go. By increasing the training, they're going to be more knowledgeable when they show up to help you. They're going to answer their calls. They're going to do a good job. They're also going to go out, spread the word, and more applicants, more people will come wanting to apply, which will also give us more people to help y'all.
Bill and I have been training since day one. We haven't quit. Training is the most vital part of the sheriff's office. Beginning with the day for their very first day the person is hired, whether it be the training officer, and I'm talking about a state certified training officer, not just somebody the sheriff appoints to train, because there's a liability factor there. We got to have state certified instructors to instruct people. We have a Sergeant Slade was back there. He was a great instructor, but we got to have more of him, people like him. But we can do this because we have the people in the budget already there in the sheriff's office. We can develop our own training. Thank you.
I believe in practicing what you preach, and from day one of my campaign, I have campaigned on leadership by example. And I think we need to train each and every person that is out on the road and in the eye of the public to lead by example. I think we need to get back to our roots where children look up to a police officer and they're not scared to run to a police officer. I think that we have got some wonderful men and women out on the roads protecting us every day, but as with any profession, a few bad ones can destroy the image of an entire department. And I think it's time that we get back to where our children, our grandchildren, and our community all together thinks that our sheriff's office is there for them, they respect us, and they actually want us in their neighborhood.